Hey, my friends, we're going to talk today about prosperity consciousness and creating a life you love. So, what if the pathway into abundance isn't through financial means exactly? What do I mean by that? We'll find out here. Hi, this is Sasa, channeling Gaia today. I want to share with you something important about how we manifest on the planet. And everything that we're doing is aligned with our true self-awareness. Everything is about how we roll with who we really are, and what we want to create on the planet is a reflection of our true self, not necessarily our okay, guys are saying there's an adjoinder to that statement. We actually are part of the new earth paradigm. We are all manifesting the creative earth, the potent earth, the place where all possibilities exist. And that comes from being your true self. So aligning with that energy of what is becoming the guided path for all of us is absolutely the pathway into a powerful creative zone. So it's not like we just exist on the planet and then we create. We actually align with the planet to come and we create from there. That's where manifestation is really powerful, because absolutely our direct line to creative joy, power, and they're saying getting kind of going outside the lines of what we're told we're allowed to do, weirdly enough, because we've been taught that you have to draw inside the lines, you have to stay within a framework, that you have to try to adapt to the paradigm that exists in the three-dimensional universe. We have to learn how to be rebels. We have to learn how to be sacred rebels. And if you are seriously trying to make something new or bold on Gaia, on Gaia's green earth, so to speak, then you have to try to do something that's not necessarily been done before, probably. And what we want to do, or you're doing something that's on the fringe, or you're doing something that's about what is meaningful versus like what is profitable. Weirdly enough, I'm going to talk a little bit about what that means, because I'm not suggesting that prosperity isn't part of the picture, but we actually, excuse me, we learn to line up with everything that we are becoming first, because that is how we make the most impact in life, how we get to the truth of what wants to become. So it's like the riches are inevitable on the other side of your true self-expression. If you want that, if you are aligning with prosperity in particular, which could be riches, okay? And of course, we're talking about a wealth of riches in terms of collaboration, co-creation, friendships, aligned partnerships. Those sorts of things are also part of our wealth picture. In fact, they are part of a successful business picture, which I'll talk a little bit about here too, actually, because when we step into our true self, we find our way into the story that we get to do the things we want to do, that we get to find our path into creative output in a way that is aligned for us. So we're not talking about floaty kind of manifestation. We're talking about, what do you do with your day? How do you enjoy life? What is your day? What constitutes a day for you? Are you feeling like you get to take a break when you need to? Do you get to and I'm going to suggest that we find ways, even when we are the kind of people who enjoy being employed with other companies or individuals, to make sure that you find a way to take a break. That is up to you to manage. So we're talking about how our alignment shows up in our life, and where our true self is actually honored in our day, in our week, in our month, in our year. Don't settle for 2 days, okay? We have to stake a claim to something bigger. We have to stake a claim to wellness and true health, true alignment, true serenity in our life. And yes, you might have a job that amps you up, and that is not a bad thing. Every once in a while, being amped up is actually pretty awesome. For some people, being amped up all the time is pretty awesome. It's like how they roll. And I absolutely observe that as a positive reality for people for whom high energy kinds of employment are actually boons, I think of stuff like the television industry. If you work in the TV, you probably you may not align with that, or you may actually find it very energizing. So anyways, talking about alignment with your work life is really profoundly a big piece of alignment with wealth, because obviously what you do for work is probably the pathway to the wealth that's coming in. I'm not suggesting that windfalls don't happen. I'm not suggesting that you might not happen upon some money. We all want that. And we have to, well, my guides are saying in a way, be real, actually. Gaia is saying it's not about getting down and dirty and doing things you don't want to do. We're talking about finding your aligned pathway to a vision of you that is in alignment with creating wealth and creating an output as well. Something that makes you feel alive, something that makes you feel really like you're not surrendering all the time. And we need to step into a planet where all people get to do this. Absolutely aligned for everyone to do that in the new earth. We have a place for everyone. Everyone gets to find their path. Everyone gets to play with what is for them. There's a place for everyone and a need in the planet for each individual. So I want to paint that picture as a possibility, even if we're not looking at it right now, that there is a day when we come into alignment as a people and everyone finds their place. And it doesn't mean getting into your specialty and your zone of genius and staying there and being a worker bee in one particular area. It can mean that you meander. It can mean that you find something that fills you up for 5 years or 10 years, and then you evolve and something else comes in. There's plenty of room for every artist out there in the new earth, believe it or not. So we all have a part to play, and we are all becoming people that allow in the direction of co-creation and the witnessing of the true self. So that is the new earth. Where do we play? We play in the new earth. Let's play in it without it actually seeming to be visible in the outside world. Let's play with that real life picture in this concrete reality we sometimes feel like we suffer through. Now, what does that take? That takes a few things. That takes being dangerous a little bit. It might take you stepping out onto your fringe, your edge, your next becoming, the next level of you, to stake a claim for that. And that is not simple to do, for sure. I won't deny that we have a lot of, everyone has a path there, and not everyone's path is a flowing one at first. It does seem to be that in a new earth paradigm, though, people start to agree with this a little easier than they did before. So I'm holding a container here for all of us to exist in the new earth versus saying that we get to suffer through things. I want to suggest that we get to ease our way into stuff and find our true self in the maelstrom of life anyways. Okay? I want you to call your true self in. I really, really can't emphasize enough the importance of calling your true self in. Your true self is absolutely waiting for you to be expressed. And your true self holds all the codes for everything that you desire and need in life. And I always like to say this, sometimes desires are actually needs. They're not all just floaty ideas that you put out into the space-time continuum and say, I really, really want to have that. Gosh, wouldn't it be nice? It might be something you really need. Like for me, painting is a need. I don't just desire spending more time painting. I need time painting. It is an absolute need. I need my gouache paints. I don't just desire manifesting a collection of beautiful colors. I actually need them for me to feel sustained. That is my medium. That's where I like to work. So I need those paints. I don't want to relegate that desire to just a desire, because then it's not honoring the full scope of where I sit with that requirement, And I want so much to suggest to people they find what that desire is. It's so great that it becomes a non-negotiable need, and give yourself permission to have it. In that is the edge you're looking for, finding out what your non-negotiable needs are and what dogs are barking in the background. I don't know if you can hear them. And finding, they have needs too. They definitely wanted to do something. I can't imagine what. But anyways, we all are created to have certain desires, and the desires that we have are our roadmap for life. They absolutely define for us the path that gives us the most joy, pleasure, and purpose in life. And when you become the person that steps into that awareness that I get to have, or I should have, I don't like to say should very often because I don't believe in should, but in this case, maybe I should have that. I should be aligned with my true nature and be the person that has all the things it takes for me to be a creative person. And it might look like getting, a ring light so that you can do videos. It might look like getting a little lapel mic, because I know some of you out there are content creators yourself in the future. Okay, I'm speaking to you. You know who you are. I know that I have a ring light on my glasses because I do not have space to put a light on either side. I'm sure people notice that. And I just said, who cares? I'm just going to do this. One day my office will be a little bigger and I'll have a ring light on either side so it doesn't get in my glasses. But anyways, that's beside the point. Or maybe it isn't. Maybe the point here is that you do the best you can with what you've got and you move forward. That is actually the point. Guides are actually suggesting that. So what we look for in our day-to-day awareness is what constitutes a little more pleasure in my day. How do I take a little bit more pleasure out of this day than I had the day before? How do I decide to rest when I need to rest? How do I make that work? For me, it used to look like when I did have a day job at a really great company that I really liked working at for a long time. I would go sit in my car and take a nap on my break because I didn't want people to have a problem with me napping on the job. So they didn't have to know. They just knew that I was taking a break and I was allowed a break, and I would take a nap in the car for, 15 minutes. I was a cat napper. I could do that. So that was how I took care of myself. And they did have a nap room, and I would occasionally go there if it was really short nap, to take a breather, because sometimes looking at a screen all day is very exhausting. And it would be for me too. So I had to take care of myself. I had to do stuff to actually make it work for me to be in that job. And, side note, I met my husband there, actually. It was a great job to meet my husband at. And we actually got along so well at work that we became friends, and then we ended up becoming more than friends. So anyways, that is actually a kind of a funny thing, because that job came out of the blue at a time when I was finally ready to have a job, which I hadn't been for a long time. I'm very much a solopreneur in my work, and I felt a call when my friend called me to see if I wanted to join this company or try to join the company. I felt like a strong yes, and I think that was why I was meant to meet my future husband. So, there's something about listening to your gut, listening to what feels good, what is calling you forward, even if it doesn't make sense on the surface. For me, it didn't quite make sense that I would want to get a job. And yet I listened to my gut. My gut said, go for it, even though it doesn't make sense with my current plan in life. I actually found what I needed by moving into this job for the time that I did. And then I returned to my business after the fact. So, which in the past was actually branding and web design and business coaching. And I am actually, funny note here, I feel like this is all lining up for some reason, not intentionally, to let you all know that I'm starting a group called Nexus at some point here soon. Reach out if you're curious about it. I am going to be hosting a group for healers and light workers who are actually standing in the spotlight more and stepping into their work more. So reach out to me if you're curious about that. That'll be a group program, by the way. So do let me know if you're curious. And guides are suggesting that you do it soon, even though it sounds like I'm saying anytime, because you'll want to get in on the founder level, because that'll be the best investment for you. So that is a thing to note. Okay, anyways, moving on. So what we have here is this idea that we get to manifest what we want as we go into our new earth mindset, which is I get what I need. Always get what I flippin' need. I can guarantee you that if you start moving in that direction, you will start getting your needs met. It comes from asserting your needs, for one. Being willing to say, you know what, I'm going to do this or I'm not going to do this, and that's the way it's going to be because that's who I am and that's what aligns for me. You know, it actually can make a whole host of changes in your life through minor adjustments as well. You don't have to go hog wild and change everything all at once. You don't have to move to another country or sit on a mountaintop or throw all of your belongings away and start fresh. You know, I know that when we've gone really far down a path of negating our needs, sometimes we feel like we just need to throw it all away and start over. Now, some people are going to do that, and that's going to be perfect for them. I would suggest doing it in small increments as a pathway into a realistic change, because not everyone can do that yet. We need to, and maybe it's not the best thing because there are people you still want in your life. I'm not saying you shouldn't move. Moving can be really great, but you know, there might be people that you want to keep around. There might be belongings that are really aligned with you still. You know, this sense of going on a mountaintop and going on a spirit quest might not be the only path into your spiritual self. It looks like that when you are exhausted. So if you can resonate with this, give me a heck yeah in the comments. If you are tired, my friend, go on a vacation for one. Take some time off, okay? Do not hesitate. The temptation to keep going at it and to check out is going to be great, because that's what the old 3D wants from us. It wants us to negate our true self and to become a worker bee and stick with the 9-to-5 mentality or the 9-to-6 mentality, and actually, because it used to be 9-to-5, now it's basically 9-to-6 or 8-to-5, you know, so how they squeezed another hour out of us is kind of miraculous, because I guess, you know, you get an hour for lunch. So they have to get their full 8 out of us. I mean, I'm serious. This is getting silly how much work people have to squeeze out of themselves, you know. I was actually getting my nails done, and I was talking to the technician, and she owns the place, and she was saying, oh yeah, I work 7 days a week. And I have a lot of privilege to be able to not do that, but I was just like floored. I could not believe that she actually joyfully, I don't know how, she's always cheerful, works 7 days a week. She says she likes work, so I hope that that's true. Who knows? Maybe for you that is true. I suspect that she could use a day off, though. And I would say you need a day off, too. Everybody needs to make sure they get a day off. Everybody needs to make sure that they take time for themselves. You don't know what you need and want until you've taken some time to get quiet, to be by yourself, to figure out what you want, to actually understand yourself. You need time off. You need a space for you. And if you can't go far, go just to the city adjacent and get an Airbnb if you can afford it, and stay at a hostel and try to just enjoy the town, go for walks and sit in the park. And, you know, if you have to do it on a budget, that's the thing to do. There's no all or nothing. I think we get into this space of like, well, I can't go to France, so I don't really want to do anything. No, just go to in my case, I live in Oregon. I can go to the coast, you know, and take a couple of days at the coast. And the universe will provide. I found a little a cozy little, I needed like a house to myself is what I really, really wanted. I wanted a house to myself, and I wanted to get it affordably because I was trying to budget for something else. And so I found a place for so cheap that I was amazed, and the universe made sure that I got it at the right time in the right place. In fact, I was looking in one other city. This place showed up. I thought it was in the city I was planning on going to. It was way north. And I went ahead and got it. And then I found out where I was going, and I was like, oh, I'm going to Seaside. Okay, that's cool. I guess that's where the universe wanted me to go. I was actually searching for Newport, and then I found something in Seaside. I was like, I'm going to Seaside. And Seaside was great. I was really happy with my decision to go to Seaside. So you get what you need, and be creative. Be willing to support yourself. That is absolutely the message here. When you support your true self, when you allow yourself to work where you like to work, find that perfect employment. I'm serious. Look, it might seem like too much work, but find it. Do find it. Really, 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 really. Okay, go find it, because I think that we don't believe that we get what we need, and that is a thing that it's like we tell ourselves that to be safe and secure and pay our bills and know that everything is going to be okay. And the true mastery of existence is learning how to be nimble and shift your idea of what you want. Now, here's the thing. I'm talking about we want security. And we need security. Okay, security is important. Gaia wants to give security. Gaia is not here to play games with us or to throw wild cards in our path and like make us scared and uncertain. That is not a plan of Gaia. Okay, so security is definitely on the table. And what we want really is to belong. It's interesting. Think about whether you're thinking about financial security or you're thinking about belonging. And I have to think about this a little. This is channeled, by the way. I actually don't know this. I'm wondering, wow, is that really what I was looking for all along, was belonging? Well, certainly, being in a place where everything seems to be aligned and isn't completely, has been something I've gone through. And I didn't necessarily think, find another place. In fact, actually what was aligned for me was to go work for myself. Maybe you too. Okay, so finding your path into your own work is absolutely doable. I've done it. You can do it too. So call me. Okay. And it's they want me to let you know that this is also a spiritual advising group. It's not just coaching. So we're doing soul work at the same time and navigating all the nuances of all that in Nexus. So, okay, side note, done. But they're so funny. They won't let me get away with not mentioning stuff I actually didn't want to at all. They're cute that way. So there's gold in every opportunity, and absolutely finding your true work is the gold that you want. And yes, you can find gold in sticking around somewhere where you're not quite aligned. And I would suggest that you do find the gold. Definitely squeeze every drop out of what's in front of you and enjoy everything that's worth enjoying if you can. Unless you're tired and you're worn out and things are hard and you're getting tired of it, then you may need to think about moving on, okay? So please don't hold on to something because you think you should. Because deep down inside, your belonging is what you're looking for, and security is a side note. Now, what we're talking about is moving into a higher dimensional awareness of work so that you don't feel like you need to negate your needs to find a job that aligns for you. You actually can find something that meets all the requirements of what you desire, whether you know it or not. And higher dimensional awareness is a place where we get to have an easier path than we think we get to have. And we find ourselves in situations where things are flowing more easily and the job shows up in your lap, like drops in your lap, and you're like, heck, where did that come from? It's that kind of manifestation. By putting your feelers out, by being open, by being aware that you need a change. So you don't necessarily leap into something or find a reason to run from something. You find something to run toward. Take a nap, my friend. Take it easy for a while. Go away for a bit. Figure it out. Don't just stay in the muck and the mire until something forces you out, or you get sick or something, or you have a big awareness that everything needs to change and you got to stop everything and everything's got to stop. Do it before that if you can. Find a way out, before the tension mounts so high that you feel like it's never going to get better and you're stuck. That is the hard place that you don't want to be in. Now you might be in that place, and gosh, if you are, I get it. I understand, okay? Don't worry, you'll find your way out. I want to offer you that balm to know that you can find your way into the next thing. Because we're not trying to I tend to say, like, we don't want to demonize the past to move to the present. We want to absolutely find our way into the future. It's funny that I said the present. I meant the future. Demonize the past to find our way into the future. We don't want to demonize the present to find our way into the future. So we don't want to do either, actually. We want to try to honor the path that we've taken and understand there's a reason for it, and then move into the reason that our true self is calling us into. Because that's the aim we have, is our true self. Our true self is absolutely where the financial abundance is, where the raise is, and I'm not just talking about raises, I'm talking about windfalls and paydays and glorious income streams and that sort of thing. Passive income streams. You get really creative when you start listening to who you really are, because your social network starts to respond to your enthusiasm. Actually, that is a key thing. Co-creation is huge in the fifth dimension. So we're working from the fifth and up and trying to realize they're saying the supposed path to glory, which is your career. Well, we're not actually talking about a career path necessarily, because you might change your mind about something, and you're allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to go down a wandering path for a year and then find your way into something glorious and be really content with it, because you took experimentation seriously. Experimentation is really important as well. So don't deny yourself the opportunity to play a little bit. Deny yourself the opportunity to go for the gold, as it were, and be wholly focused on what you want to do. That is actually ultimate, to trust in yourself every step of the way. This is a subject that I have a lot to say about, because I've watched people move from high income jobs to working on their business and finding their true self expression through their work and making it work, and kind of rolling back around to the idea that, it comes down to meaning, not income necessarily, because meaning creates income. That's the true story here, my friends. Meaning creates income. When you move into finding true meaning in life, income can follow. I know that we tend to think that doesn't work out in our 3D cultures. And if we work from the New Earth paradigm, meaning is everything. Meaning is the conduit for creation and prosperity. So give this a go. Try it on for size. See what you think, because you might find that these little nudges that you give yourself are enough to move you into the domain that you need to be in. You might actually witness a change come through that is so massive, maybe through small steps, that changes your whole trajectory in your life and makes you feel more aligned and more in flow with your prosperity than ever before. So think about it. New Earth manifestation technique. Step into the new earth in your mind. Say, this is where I create from, the 5D and up. I will work in this dimension from now on, and I will allow it to support me and create a ripe soil for manifestation, because that true self-expression is the pathway into creating what you desire and need. Thank you, my friend. Such a treat to share this experience with you. And do reach out if you have any things you want to contribute. I would love to hear from you. Just pop it in the comments. And thank you for being you, because that is how things get done, is by you being your true nature and being willing to step into that fullness of you. And I am so grateful to you for being here. Have a gorgeous day.